Hello from Singapore. I'm Galinda. Today is May the 2nd, day 26 of the circuit breaker period. I had an interesting encounter today with two Malaysians who are staying at the same hotel, Kumar and Along. They have inspired me for the content of my video today. Countries may not always get the leader they deserve, but the coronavirus pandemic has certainly revealed what kind of leader they've gotten. As hospital wards fill up and forces Europe and United States to go into lockdown, the high-pressure crisis is bringing out the best and the worst of national leaders, boiling them down to their very essence. Let's start with Donald Trump. After weeks which he has downplayed the risk of public health, the US president blamed the killer virus on China, the European Union, a Democratic Party hoax, and the media, while heaping praise on himself. The coronavirus has laid bare the president's narcissism and ignorance. His seemingly inability to engage with details or distinguish fact from wishful thinking has left his senior advisors squirming in embarrassment behind him on the White House podium. In other times, the world would have turned to the US for leadership. Trump, however, is too busy looking for people to hate to make even a pretense of being a unifying national leader, let alone a global statesman. America first, as it turns out, means giving the finger to the world. On the other side of the Atlantic, Trump's soulmate Boris Johnson has been equally exposed for what he is. A talented showman who often seems to be more at home with nostalgic fantasy than facts. The British Prime Minister was slow to react as the virus swept across Europe. Without respecting Brexit or stopping at passport control in Dover, the crisis has exposed Johnson's tendency to chance his luck, improvise or distract in sticky situations, and play for laughs and headlines rather than mastering the detail of complex issues. A man who thought his defining mission would be to get Brexit done. Johnson is now scrambling to emulate his political hero, Winston Churchill, as a war leader in adversity. But even as he ratchets up the World War II rhetoric and discusses matters of life and death, Johnson, a former celebrity quiz star, cannot suppress his inner clown. This has certainly not been his finest hour. Across the channel, things are so far looking better. The French President Emmanuel Macron is channeling his inner de Gaulle or Napoleon, radiating authority and solemnity. He declared war on an invisible enemy in two lengthy television appearances from his gilded Élysée palace office. He did not hesitate to send the police and gendarmes to enforce a ban on leaving home without a valid reason, with draconian fines. Macron's promise that the state would underwrite businesses and citizens, whatever it costs, is what the French expect from their president. His decision to suspend bitterly contested pension reforms during the crisis was smart, but the coronavirus has shown another side of the carefully covert chameleon who served in a socialist government, ran for president as a centrist liberal, and was moving to the right until the virus struck. Macron is now finding a political second wind as the big state dirigist. Across the Rhine, Angela Merkel is stepping into a role she seems to have been designed for. The German Chancellor's measured, mother-of-the-nation style contrasts with the marital tones in Paris and London, and the self-congratulatory bluster in Washington. She ended a rare television address to the nation, not with a solemn "God bless America" or "Vive la France," but with a humble "Take good care of yourselves and your loved ones." Her fundamental decency and evidence-based decision-making have rightly restored her standing as Europe's sure-handed leader. She has also displayed a surprising willingness to jettison Germany's long-standing balanced budget dogma in such dramatic circumstances. Even as Merkel endures quarantine after coming in contact with an infected doctor, the coronavirus has paradoxically given her new lease on political life after 15 years in office, just when her powers appeared to be finally fading. The crisis' most unexpected star has been Giuseppe Conte, a law professor with no party affiliation, plucked from obscurity to hold together an improbable squabbling coalition of anti-establishment populist parties in 2018, and who now leads a more orthodox centre-left government. The Italian Prime Minister's calm crisis management in the heavily indebted European country hardest hit by the virus has given the lie to Mussolini's dictum that governing Italians is not difficult but pointless. Conte took a courageous action to impose strict confinement at a time when many countries in Europe dismissed the move as an overreaction. He has summoned up the mood of national solidarity with reassuring television addresses, promising that the state will take care of the people and urging them to accept temporary sacrifices of their freedom of movement. By contrast, far-right nationalist Matteo Salvini, who a few months ago looked on the brink of sweeping to power, has had a bad crisis, drawing widespread rebuks for filibustering in Parliament to delay emergency economic rescue measures. In Central Europe, Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán and Poland's conservative nationalist leaders responded to the virus predictably by defiantly slamming shut their borders to other EU countries, causing long tailbacks and stranding thousands of Europeans in transit. Orbán, who coined the term illiberal democracy to describe his authoritarian rule, is now trying to use COVID-19 for a sweeping power grab that would enable his government to rule by decree indefinitely. He may yet manage to ram the legislations through his supine parliament using his Fidesz party's two-thirds majority. And then there is Mark Rutte, a somewhat stiff, technocratic politician who has shown himself during the crisis to be able to give the Dutch what they want from a prime minister: a down-to-earth, tight-fisted, one-of-us leader. Rutte, who refused to order a strict confinement on his freedom-loving compatriots, went on a supermarket walkabout to counter hoarding, assuring shoppers that stocks of toilet paper in the country were sufficient to poop for 10 years. Whatever the virus has revealed, whether racism or frewlessness or authoritarianism or humanity, thoughtfulness, and the willingness to learn, well, at least people around the world now know what their leaders are made of. If a crisis is a test of character, not everyone has passed it. My meal today is in honor of my Chinese grandmother, and this was what I used to like to eat as a child: chicken feet with rice. Mix it all together. Oh my God, the sauce, look at that. Yum, yum.